Zion Williamson, the Hooper versus the Human. What's fair? What's out of bounds? I got Lito and Scott Hall to here pretty much to tell you. Start the show.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I am your host here, Chris Connor. I got my dog Lito the God here. And once again, Razor Ramon, Sky Hall. All right.
Rest in peace to the God.
Shout out to all our good people here that support us, DraftKings Sportsbook, Jägermeister, as well as Birdsall Law Firm. You will hear from DraftKings Sportsbook at the end of this show. Tap in with everything that Boo Crew got going on, the post-game recaps. You know, if you rocking with Saints, you rocking with LSU, you rocking with the Pelicans, and we all got shows. We all putting them out. Tap in, support, like, comment, subscribe. I'm not gonna say what Justin say, but Lito might.
Smash it.
That's crazy. All right, so as always, man, I'm big on doing there's no other way to say this. Deeper dives into
so you would say smash.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Into Pelicans related subjects. I mean, by now, you know, you guys have already seen a lot of the conversation surrounding Zion, which, I mean, it's always going to be present and it's going to be relevant. But I had an idea, and shout out to Lito for helping me kind of put the finishing touches on the title. And we're going to break down certain parts of the Human versus the Hooper. What exactly does that mean? What's right? What's wrong? We got some video, we got some clips, and we're gonna pretty much talk about this Zion situation in total, and break down what's next. Break down some of the, I guess there's a human element that I think matters when we're having these kind of discussions, and then there's also an accountability and a responsibility situation that's set up when we're talking about Zion, the basketball player. Right. Lito?
Yeah, man. So it's a very broad spectrum of events we have going on. You know, on one hand, Zion the Hooper, right? He got it's a broad list of responsibility. People expect things from the Hooper. When I say people, the fans, the media, hell, Zion. One, you expect him to be in shape. You expect him to look like a professional basketball player. That's one. You expect him to have, as basketball players go, discipline, to give effort. I don't know. Basketball players have this superhero type euphoric stigma about them that they always are in shape, or they always do the right things, or they always, so much so that like people forget that basketball players are human. Like, people talk about Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe as a mythical figure, so much so when Kobe Bryant died, I was in my mom's kitchen and the first thing I could do was shed a tear, because that shit just doesn't seem real to me. And I know this is a I'm on the very like left end of the spectrum now, talking about death. But yes, Zion the Hooper has those expectations versus Zion the Human. Somebody who may have struggled with weight his whole life, or it could be something that has happened fairly recently and his body is still trying to get adjusted to maybe the you know, what he can put into his body, what he can't put into his body. Still trying to figure that out as a fairly young man at 23. I mean, shit, fairly young, motherfucker young.
Yeah.
As a new dad, right? You got to think about I can say this. I tell people all the time, when my girl got pregnant, I gained weight. Like it when the shit I didn't want to eat food,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? She wanted to eat it. I had to eat it
and
with her.
it wasn't much.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it was one of them things. So you got to take that into accountability. You know what I'm saying? He's a new dad. He's probably trying to get acclimated with the baby. He might not have time to do the things that he was doing pre-baby. You know what I'm saying? Last season when he was with Jasper, then you got to take in the Jasper account, the personal trainer. I think what people are stuck on in this situation though is this is year 5 versus year 1 of this.
yeah. And here's the thing. I feel like, as always, we don't find, and we don't like to live in the gray when it comes to these conversations, because it's either A, when you're talking about Zion at this point, specifically when he struggles,
Right.
you're either making excuses or you're being harsh.
Right. Right.
And I think the goal here in conversations like these is to find the gray. And I have a few different, I think, videos here that we'll get into here shortly about kind of living on both sides of the spectrum, because this is pretty much the conversation. This is what it always comes down to: the basketball player, the professional basketball player versus the human being. And we get an opportunity as fans, as critics, as podcasters, media members, to look at it from a spectrum that it can be very judgmental, you know, and it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough, right? Because I always, when the conversations are fresh, and we're because in my, I guess from my viewpoint, Lito, I feel like a lot of times athletes, unless they're around your size or you know them personally, they really only become relatable when they fail. That's
Yeah.
really the only time when they're not living up to what they're supposed to, or you see them struggling with something. That's really the only time that you can really relate to them. So that's
Hey.
kind of the best time to really have the conversation, right? Because personally speaking, I remember being 23. I remember being 22. I remember being 25. He's not there yet, but I can remember all these things, and I had a lot less, and made a bunch of different foolish mistakes, right? But I didn't have anybody waiting on a national, on national syndicated shows talking about, hey, Chris Wiley.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine if I had millions and millions of dollars, what that person would have turned into. Now that doesn't mean that everything is necessarily excusable, and that doesn't mean, I think we all agree that we want to see Zion do better, and this team's future and their present their ceiling depends on him figuring it out. And you would hope it's sooner rather than later. But the context and, I guess, the perspective of all this gets lost, because there are people that make comments, and something, we react to the bad performances and so on and so forth. Then he drops 35, and really the only thing that anybody's ever chasing for is consistency, right? But the conversation changes day to day, from he's this, and then the jokes come out, and everybody's, kind of pretty much piling on him, and then the next day or the day afterwards was saying, you know what, y'all doing a little bit too much.
Bro, it's kind of like clockwork. I told Justin on Saturday, or maybe it was Sunday, he's gonna come out on Monday and drop 30 points. And the conversation is again gonna change because society is more of a what have you done for me lately type society. That's the feeling of it. So you know what I'm saying? The thing is this: it's a way to critique Zion. It's a way to critique anybody without being mean, being what's being like you don't have to demean them. I always say, for me personally, as a person who is covering a team, who has to give his opinion about the team, I am disappointed in his fitness, but I'm not above Zion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I, for instance, right, 23, $200 million, dog. Like, you know me outside of podcasts, you know me outside of like Boo Crew. Son, if I was 23 and I had $200 million, I wouldn't
Escorts.
be, I wouldn't be alive. I, I wouldn't even be here. Or I'd have fucked the money up. I'm telling you, like, young me at 20. Oh man, please, y'all,
Oh,
dog. People think I say wild shit now, dog. You couldn't imagine me at 23.
Lito, I remember my father at 18 years old coming up to Chicago and giving me $10,000, and he gave me all the right shit in like all the right conversational points. He told me we had dinner, and he gave me this money, and it was cash.
Mm-hmm.
And he said all the right things. You know what? You should invest it. Find a stock that you like. I can help you. Find this. Find that. Find do this. Look into real estate. And he ended it the way he was supposed to end it. Don't
Don't fuck
spend the
up.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much don't fuck it up. And what I do?
fuck it up.
Yeah, hey, bro, that money was here maybe 3 months. And the only thing I can really remember that I still have or that I had today from it was the Xbox. So what the hell would I be doing with millions of dollars, bro? You know what I'm saying? And that's 18. So so okay, we say Zion's been in the league for 5, for what? It's year 5, but Zion came to New Orleans at 19.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think again. I think it's the conversation just needs to stay balanced because again, bro, I can't relate to doing the things that Zion can do on the floor. I can't relate to being 6'6" and being able to jump, you know,
41
38 or
total.
40,
Yeah,
like whatever. I can't relate to being able not at your physical peak and still being able to put up 24 points a game or whatever the case may be. Same with Jordan, same with any of these athletes, same with Kobe. I can't relate to any of that. But what I can relate to is gambling issues. I can relate to that, Mike. I can relate to that being put on the screen. I can relate to struggling with diet and food intake
yeah.
and not having, but having a homie who might eat the same shit that I eat, but it
And
don't
don't gain
affect
no
him.
weight.
Right, because his metabolism is high. Like it just,
Yep.
his genetics different. I can relate to that a lot differently than Zion going out and scoring 30 points. And I think that's what people I hoped or I would hope going forward that people are able to latch on to. And these videos that I'm gonna show people in the comments say it took too long to get the video. I don't care, but we having a conversation.
Yeah.
But but I would hope that the human side of this, even if it's not to say it's not to give Zion bail or
Nah,
give him
nah,
excuses necessarily,
nah.
because but it is, I think, to say, if anything else, but to give perspective and to say, yo, there are people that are giving comments that are, that are providing jokes and that are providing content that we don't get the opportunity to look at their life through the same microscope, bro. You know what
Damn.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, listen, before you start the video, like that was kind of the point I wanted to get to. And the facts are facts, right? The facts are he's not in the type of shape he should be in. And he's acknowledged that. I'm not that is not something I'm saying facetiously. These are words that he said. He said he's not where he wants to be. There are ways you can journalistically provide that kind of coverage for your fan base or your show or whatever without being egregious, especially from the human side of it. A person who has admittedly already struggled with mental health, you don't need to pile on to whatever skeletons is in this man's closet. You don't need to kick a motherfucker while he down. I every 6 or so months you know what I'm saying, it comes up as far as his fitness, and like, again, I'm gonna comment on it because that's what we paid to do on this network as far as covering this team. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say he don't look his best, but I'm not about to say, bro, listen, that shit Stephen A said about every chef in New Orleans is waiting for Zion Wood. Like, son, that's so egregious to me because, for one, when you say some shit like that, you got to put a bullet behind it. Who's your source? What you got to source that shit out. You can't just say that because it don't matter if Zion was built like Brandon Ingram. Every chef is gonna be looking for him. He's a fucking millionaire basketball player. Of course,
Yeah.
every chef is looking for him. They trying to pack that bitch out. You know what I'm saying? I'm
So
trying to get him in the
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And you know what? And that's why I'm very interested in some athletes take or takes when it comes to these kind of situations, because there's only two ways to attack it. You're attacking the basketball player and what that human being is putting out, or you're attacking the human being and you either A can relate, or B you've been in that person's shoes, and that's pretty much it. Like, I don't think it's pretty much more complicated than that. You mentioned the facts. Here are some of the other facts that we're giving them. I mean, there's two sides of this. The other side of the facts is that I know you've met Zion Williamson. You've had conversations with him.
Yeah.
I've met Zion, and I've talked to people that know Zion. And I've heard that Zion don't listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just like right now. But again, bro, at 23 years old, I didn't listen.
Yeah.
I I I did not listen. So if you would have given me even his rookie scale contract, it's hard for me to be like, oh, he's not taking his career seriously, because the facts are is that people people are upset, or people are critiquing, or people are frustrated because they feel like he's losing his opportunity. He's wasting his talent. He's wasting, and that's just one side of it.
Yeah.
Some fans are upset because their interest and the money that they're tying into the team is wrapped around this player who has something that he may struggle with for the rest of his life, Lito, or at least the rest of his basketball career.
It's not.
That's
It's
just
not. It's not going.
that's
That's
just
not
the
going to go
truth.
away.
That's
It's
not,
not
bro.
something that goes
That's an
away.
addiction.
Yeah.
That's an addiction, and it's gonna be more than likely. I mean, I got news for y'all. That's going to be. I watched Jermaine O'Neal say the other day he retired because he got tired of looking into the pantry and fighting himself over whether or not he was going to eat an Oreo. He got tired of it.
That's
He
crazy.
eventually just said, "Yo, it's over. I don't want to do this anymore." So, and get it. They make millions of dollars and so on and so forth, bro. I get it. I get it. That's the responsibility. But I'm telling you, someone like me who's stubborn, who's stern, who criticizes, who doesn't like to make excuses, who just feel like get it done, find a
Yep.
way to make it happen. That's the way I live my life. I don't like to make excuses. I don't like to say, "I well, I didn't do this because," and just and give bail. I don't do that with myself. I don't do that with others. I hold people to the standards that they say that they want to be at. But I can also understand that if I was 6 foot anything and had an opportunity to make, I cannot promise you. No, I cannot promise you that I would have been this upstanding as citizen. You would have saw me in the news for things that you probably you know, wouldn't approve of. But that's the double standard and the hypocritical shit that pops in, bro. I think we all gotta hold ourselves to a better standard. Like, it's things that a lot of people that criticize this man do behind the scenes that we'll never know about. But unfortunately, Zion don't have that opportunity. You gonna find out everything that brother does every single minute, 9 times out of 10. 20 minutes of conversation. Let's get into the videos, the reaction, and boom.
Yeah.
So first, Kmart. Kmart on the human side of this element, and I want you to give a brief reaction or a brief response to what Kmart says. Fair, foul.
Feels like he's effective. And just because somebody has a bad game or a bad couple games in a row, now all of a sudden he's not in shape and he's fat. He got a problem eating and all this shit. Like what they expect him to do? Okay, he can have a shit. He can have listen. All the things can exist that they ask him to do. He can get a chef. He can get a nutritionist. They go check his fucking blood, see what he's allergic to, what makes him. All of these things can exist. We all do, right? He's still gonna be 260, 265 pounds, man.
I think that was. I mean, it's an interesting conversation, right? Because he's saying on what I agree. I want to say I agree with the 95% of it. The only part that kind of I'm like, he's listed at 280 right now. I'm gonna take the 265. I think 265. I think that is crazy. Damn, that's
insane.
That,
but go ahead.
Jesus Christ. Good thing my daughter's asleep. That's I would take Zion weighing 265. I think, and listen, I'm not shaming him when I say this. It's the brand of basketball that he plays. It's just safer on his knees. Whatever gravity he can take off of his knees when he comes down from the explosive velocity he has going up, it's gonna save him in the long run. That's crazy too. I was trying to tap dance. I was trying to tap dance around physics. The explosiveness was really did it. Like
I mean, going up is crazy. Look. I get what you're saying though. I think that, and I think every one of these videos, I think it's about 4 or 5 of these.
Yeah,
I think have things that you may agree with and things that you may not necessarily, because we do have to keep it a buck. There are things in these videos that talk about, just reach out to him, just call him, just do this, just do that. And you and I know from conversations privately and things that we've heard and things that have been given to us by people that would know it's not that. Zion's a different kind of dude. Yeah. And especially right now, but this is what Gilbert Arenas comes in, and he kind of, I guess, goes further into what it means to be that age and be still just kind of being a kid of sorts. Listen to this.
Used to criticizing. We don't want to help, especially with our own. We're talking about brotherhood, talking about all this, the league is this and that, the other. First thing we do is, he's fat. He's this fat nigga. It's like, he young, bro. We talked about it in Vegas. It's like, we want to advocate for him. It's like,
And that's why he showed up to the show. Took time out of his day, break his silence.
But you can't make somebody do some shit that they need to do, but you can't advocate and help. You can encourage it. You can encourage it.
He's going to have to really understand that he can't do what everyone else is doing, right? This is going to be a conscious decision. He cannot be normal. This is his game. He is not competing with who's best 3-man, who's the best 4-man. He is competing with Zion, the high school Zion, his version of him when he was in high school, the version of when he came into Duke. That's the version of who he is competing with. Because if he can beat that battle between himself, then whoever's in front of him doesn't matter at that point, because he's going to be the ultimate player. Right now, I think he's still trying to be a kid and not realizing you don't have the luxury anymore. You never did. It's now just catching up with you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be body conscious the rest of your time playing.
And we're not here to make excuses for him, but it's something we harped on previously. He was 22 at that point, 23 now. Had just turned 23 when he pulled up on us in Vegas. He's still a kid, unfortunately.
But here's what we're doing.
Damn,
this is what we're doing.
And not to make excuses for him.
That's 23.
So look, I'll start with the Hooper side first. He has a chance, and I agree. To be honest, I agree with what Gail said. He has a chance to be a top 10 player in the NBA. Not if you look up and down the NBA roster, not too many people have that opportunity or ability to do so. So you hate to see guys like that squander that opportunity. At the same time, he said something about body conscious. I think that's where we are though, because if everybody's putting a magnifying glass on a situation, it's probably going to make him withdraw even more within himself. And when you do those type of things, it's lonely, it's dark. I've been there. It's depressing. It's depressive. You talked about mental health already, right? It puts you back into a place where the one thing you turn to is your comfort, which is probably food.
Yep. Yeah. Which is something that he has complete control over. And they also had other parts of the conversation in which they talked about how much time he'd have to play and how they got deeper into conversations about food and pregame meals and so on and so forth, and what exactly he would have to he would he would have to do, how certain guys come into the season look a certain way and they simply don't by the end of the year. Some dudes look, maybe play themselves into shape, and some guys end up playing themselves out because maybe they're not playing as much as they thought they would, and they're just eating 2 a.m. A bunch of 2 a.m. meals, room service whenever you want it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Uber Eats now, like, shout out to Matt Ryan, DoorDash, right? These are things that are there, and but again, we're holding Zion up to a standard that was put there for him, regardless of what anyone else, regardless of what he felt about himself.
Yeah.
Like
That's
like
true.
like this standard was built for him by society, by comparisons, by like you listen. I can't stand when a motherfucker tell me this is what I think you should be.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
I see you. I can
Word.
appreciate it, but you may not know what it takes to get there. You just see it from there. You may not know exactly what it takes for me internally to get there. Comparing anyone to LeBron James at this point is obviously insane.
That's career.
It's obviously
It's career assassination.
obviously a fucking anomaly, bro. That someone can come into the league at 18 and now be in the league for, he's going on, I think, 20 years now, right? He's about to be 39. No, I'm sorry, 21 years. Come in the league at that age and be able to be as durable and last as long and play to the level that he's playing at, that's fine. If this LeBron system in regards to taking care of your body was for everyone, we would see a lot more dudes that he was playing with, dudes that came after him, and some that came before him implemented. It's simply not for everybody. And here's the perfect segue to what I'm saying towards the next video and your favorite guy, Rashard McCants.
Unfortunately.
But here's what we're doing. This is what we're
And not to make excuses.
That's 23.
What we're doing is we're not allowing none of these kids that have talent to pan out how they actually are going to pan out. We want them to pan out the way we see their talent, we see their potential. It's like, oh, if he only does this, he'll be this and that. Like, they're going to take their path the way that they see it. And right now, Zion is going to take a path as being one of the greatest high school players that we've ever seen grace the court. They come into college and have an expectation, and go into the league, have an expectation, and never really reaching the pinnacle of that. And I think that if we're okay with knowing that Zion could have been a bunch of shit that we never seen before, but he ended up being exactly who he know he could be. The guy who's always going to be chasing his weight, always going to be trying to figure it out, and fighting against the odds. Because if he don't turn the corner, like, what can we say about the nigga? We can't say, like, oh, man, you a failure, you a disappointment. Nah, you Zion Williamson. You Zion Williams. You exactly who you were supposed to be.
First of all, I hate Rashard McCants so much. I'm so sad he went to my favorite school. Shout out to North Carolina for putting Coach K in the dirt. 5 if you listening. Much love. Hey, he has a bro. I'm about to say he has a point, but he kind of don't, because even this less than stellar version of Zion, it's still he's still in rare air career-wise. Maybe not this year, but he's still in rare air. Points per game throughout the first however many years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting percentage. Like, when he steps on the floor and he plays, he's done historical things to have his name mentioned with the greats. So you can't. I guess you can say that he is just Zion. He was Zion. It's a mixed bag, but I think can I say one thing about your LeBron James point?
Yep.
LeBron, you said the NBA, right? But it starts before that. There are stories about LeBron in AAU games bringing salad, bringing you know what I'm saying? Like
Just different.
he was just different. You can't. Nobody at 16 is thinking about taking care of their body like that.
Chips.
Like bro, we drinking
Sandwiches,
Gatorade,
Gatorade, sugar.
Chris, I think LeBron. I think Zion, and I'm gonna ask you how you feel about this, but I want to hear your point about what McCants said. But do you think Zion is tired of standing out and he maybe just wants to fit in for once?
Sure. I mean, that's what most people. That's what a lot of folks that are with celebrity or any kind of celebrity eventually want. Like, there's a point in their life where they can think about where they walked outside and nobody cared that they were outside. Now they can't walk. They have to walk out presentable, in every single time they leave the house, and that goes not just for them but the people that they're moving with.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that alone might want somebody to just fit in and just be a regular individual, bro. Whether that's in regards to partying, whether that's in regards to just doing regular shit that we get a chance to do. I don't know, bro. Walking your dog, going to Wendy's, whatever it is, whatever exactly it is, I'm sure that and to his situation, it's totally different because Lito, like you said, like one of the videos said, he's been dealing with this since he was 16 years old. Now again, there's gonna be people in these comments talking about, yeah, well, well, he's become a millionaire, because, bro, it don't matter. I try to stay away from talking about having conversations about what, and I mean, I'm sure I've done it before, but I really aim to not have conversations about what I would do if I was in someone's shoes, because I could be looking at the most comparable person to me and putting on their walking a day in their life, it's still gonna be 100% different from mine. So I can't tell Zion what to do, bro. We make jokes about it and we try to give, we try to give advice on the spot because that's what we do here. Like, we comment on the game and we comment on the scenarios around the team, around the Pelicans. But at the end of the day, can't none of us change Zion. Can't nobody, even if he called Charles Barkley and he called Shaquille O'Neal and they had conversations about, yo, this is what I did, this is how I did it, this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. Bro, I've had these talks with people that I've had, not with these celebrities, but I've had different talks. We all have, of people that mentors that all want us to see us go in a different direction and do this, do that, do that. And guess what? When we get out the fall with them, we got the keys to do whatever the hell we want to, bro. I get what you said, like 100%. Yo, I should eat that salad, but dog, French fries are good, bro. They're delicious. They're fucking delicious. Milkshake, bro. I was in Shake Shack yesterday, and I was saying it's the smallest shit. I was watching. I guess it was somebody's birthday, and one of the I don't know if I can call them. One of the workers had a tray of milkshakes. And I was just standing there in amazement. Just an amazement of a tray of milkshakes, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's these are my battles. So I cannot imagine a man that of Zion's stature, of Zion's significance, what the hell he goes through. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I get it. You got a responsibility, and eventually you gotta figure it out, or you are going to look back at it and say, man, that there was something. Like, it's a cautionary tale that we've seen play out before, and that may be why the people that really are trying to give him game are looking at it. Yo, do not make the same mistakes that others have made, because you got a chance to do something that nobody has ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I think it's a
good.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna say, I think it's probably like, I ain't trying to drag us off the deep end, dog, but I don't know what his poison is per se. You know what I'm saying? But if let's just say he battling sugar, he addicted to sweets.
Uh-huh.
That's a hell of a addiction. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't it don't ever go away, bro. You gotta just be vigilant, man. And like sometimes you just gotta want it more than the bullshit. You gotta want the success of whatever you chasing more than the other shit. And it sucks, and it's gonna hurt in the long run. But
it is what it is, and that's the thing. And I think maybe Lito, if the team didn't have some of the players, some of the talents on the team, and we didn't see them, we've seen them without Zion enough, and we've seen them with Zion to know that no matter what, he's the one that takes this team to the entire next level.
right.
And I think it's a combination of folks. I think this team needs Brandon Ingram to do the same. They
That's
need the combination of CJ McCollum. They need some other guys, Trey Murphy, and yes, they need these guys. Jonas to it, Herb Jones. They need all of these guys, of course. However, with Zion, it's a little bit different because it feels as if Zion is standing in it's Zion versus Zion, and it's in regards to choices that are being made, and it's this element. He is more susceptible to getting injured again and
absolutely.
getting hurt again when he is not in shape and he is playing with the type of unprecedented force and jumping ability and agility and driving and finishing ability at the rim that we haven't seen. That's the other element that isn't talked about enough. The fact that, if you were in better shape, you might be able to, your life might be easier on the floor. You might be able to, you have more energy and more endurance to play better defense and rebound and do all this other stuff. But my brother, more than anything, almost every time you've gotten hurt and been out for a long period, it's either because of exhaustion or you simply just not being in the shape or having the conditioning that you need to play at this level game after game after game after game, and which your body type, is set up at. So,
Hey man, listen, I had a coach. Shout out to Coach Biegas. It was me and this guy met at the practice, like used to dunk everything like as hard as you could. And he used to be like, yo, I know y'all young, but you only got so many jumps. Stop wasting them.
Yeah.
And the thing is like every time you mention injury, every time you get hurt, it takes a little bit of, it might be 3%, but it takes a little bit of your athleticism away. It's something you can never regain. And then slowly, like you can look at the Blake Griffin effect. And I'm not saying Blake's decline had anything to do with food. I'm just saying based on the type of games Zion plays, it's kind of more Blake-esque than, Barkley-esque. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So you look at Blake. Luckily, Blake had the wherewithal to develop an outside shot, a handle. He could do other things to where it did start waning away. It didn't look as bad as it did when, like, say, a Shaq lost it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. That was completely different. That fall was a lot further to the ground. 2 more videos here for you, Lito, and we're gonna get you out of here. And these kind of, I think, tackle more of the Hooper expectation and the people that are being critical, whether it be because of them being disappointed, or one of them being in his shoes, being a professional athlete, and just calling it how he sees it. We're going to start with Shannon Sharpe.
Player in a said sport, which is basketball, which is what Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal did. 2 guys that were big, struggled with conditioning, struggled with their diets, telling you from firsthand experience. A wise man will learn from others' mistakes. A fool will learn from his own. You know what? People keep saying, Zion need to hire a personal chef. Zion need personal accountability. That's what Zion needs, if it comes from a good place. Bro, you still, and I said yesterday, and I'm going to take back what I said yesterday, that Zion loves basketball. No, he doesn't. Because when you love something, you do everything you can. You cherish it, and you try to nurture it, and you try to get it to grow. Zion has not got his butt in shape, and he has not done what he needed to do with his conditioning or his eating habits. So it's on him. If he has a short career, he has no one to blame but himself.
So two things there. I think everything Barkley and Shaq said, I think it was very poignant and it's coming from. I feel like it was coming from a compassionate place from them.
Mhm.
The thing that Shannon Sharpe just said, I'm not gonna say it's easy to say, but you know what Shannon Sharpe is speaking from? He's speaking from hindsight.
Okay.
He's not speaking from foresight. He's not speaking from a place of being in the league and going through that. Shannon has lived through seeing people do that, whether it be football or basketball. I think when an older black man takes time to address you, whether it be on TV or minus Stephen A, because that shit was kind of, but I still feel like he cared because like I think Stephen A like basketball, he like hoop enough to where he wants to see stars, right? But I think Shannon like was kind of on point because they look at it, older black people, from what I seen when they speak about Zion, like fuck the TV, barbershops. I'm in a grocery store. I'm getting my oil changed. They look at it exactly like you were saying earlier. This month, yeah, you got to get your oil changed. Make sure you fix your zinc. They looking at it like this motherfucker is squandering an opportunity, and they don't like that. They can't fathom that because you look at where Shannon started at Savannah State and where Zion came. It's two totally different paths. Shannon had no idea he'd make it to the NFL. Like Zion was destined to make it to the NBA. It's a little bit different. He probably don't have he's not speaking from a position where he can understand the empathy of going through that. Shannon had to eat right. He had to work hard. He had to have good grades. You know what I'm saying? Everything had to literally fall in line for him to become a Hall of Fame tight end. Where Zion is like, you knew since 8th grade, dog, you was him. And I do think that kind of plays a little bit of part, kind of plays some parts into it because he never had to do nothing extra. And I could be speaking facetiously because I don't know. I was not there. All I can say is what I've seen the last 4 or 5 years. But he hasn't had to work as hard as other guys because everything has been handed to him based on his athleticism. And now you get to the NBA, and it's crazy because we're talking again. We're speaking at him at 60 or 70% of himself, and he's still more athletic than everybody else. And he like, what the fuck I gotta try for?
Right.
I could roll out of bed and I can score 27 points and not, you know what I'm saying?
Or I can score 35. And even a team that's missing Anthony Edwards is still a really good defensive team. Still the number one defensive team.
The multi-time defensive player of the year on that team.
30, 35, easy. You know what I mean? And I think one of the things we've seen overall in time, Lito, you learn in life that generational gifts, I mean, even gifts that aren't generational, talents, whatever the case may be, blessings, they come with, that same thing that you're given is also your curse. Because 9 times out of 10, those things just arrive so easy to you. You know, it's second nature. You don't have to think about it. You're just able to do. And your ability to do when it becomes generational is so much higher. You know, it's so much higher than everyone else. Even your 50% is better than people's 100%. It's different. So I think that next element for Zion, he might have to. This isn't going to be the last time that we're having this discussion. This won't be the last time, in my opinion, that we're going to be talking about Zion Williamson's struggles with shape or weight or conditioning or effort, whatever the case may be. But it is clear as day for him to be the best, for him to be even close to, and back to the McCants point, we don't even know what Zion wants to be.
That's true.
We don't know. Zion may not want to be what people told him he could be. He may not want to be the greatest player of all time. He may not want to be a top 10 or because he'll walk into the Hall of Fame if he finishes even where he is right now for the next 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets in the NBA Hall of Fame. That's just it. He may just be fine with that. We don't know that. However, one way or another, for him to maximize his gifts, his talents, and get the most out of it, he's going to have to do some of those other things. I will end with this video, which you can react to. This is Stephen A. Smith giving his side in this same show, and then we can wrap up.
On point. because we've seen no evidence to the contrary. Nobody is rooting against you. Nobody wants you to fail.
Yes.
We all want you to succeed. If you succeed, it gives us even more to talk about.
Yes.
We get to celebrate you and elevate you in the eyes of everybody the world over because you're that dude. Unfortunately, you weren't against the greatest in the world, one of the greatest ever in LeBron James. You could show up against Minnesota a couple of nights later after you were critiqued. But are you going to do that on a night in, night out basis? Because your talent says you can. Your conditioning says otherwise. That's on you, as Shannon Sharpe just said. But nobody is rooting against Zion Williamson, which I told his dad this morning. Nobody is rooting against him. We're all rooting for him. But his conditioning has to be addressed. And damn it, somebody needed to tell him. So I was one of those folks that said so.
But he knows it.
We got to do our job.
I think the thing that ended that segment was the most important part, honestly. He knows it. You know that thing I was saying about older black men?
Yeah.
I feel like Stephen A just gave that energy out. I had not seen these clips, none of these clips. I had not seen First Take this morning, so I was not privy to any of this. I do believe that, like I said, that's crazy because I said I was speaking from a standpoint of I think that they want to see him succeed. And that's the reason why they're so outraged. But I kind of I disagree with Stephen A. Smith on the basis of yeah, that's crazy. I disagree with him because you can't say, bro, that Lakers game was one game. So you can't tell me I come back the next day and I drop 36 and it don't matter. Like that ain't fair. Like, what kind of standards are you holding me to? I'm not LeBron James. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not Kobe. I'm not none of them guys, right? I'm Zion Williamson. Secondly, you gotta account for who is on. Anthony Davis has never won a defensive player of the year. So if I do it against the defensive multi-time defensive player of the year, to me, see, it should be a little bit more impressive than whatever. But I do agree with him about the consistency part because, wait or not, one of the issues I asked you about fitting in with Zion, and you said, probably sure. The thing that concerned me is the 8 shots because that's telling me a different story. That's kind of telling me you don't believe. Like, fuck the scheme, because people will tell me, well, the scheme said this or this, and I understood it in the Sacramento game because everybody else was kind of going, but the whole team was struggling against the Lakers, and if you as a superstar don't believe in whatever you had going on to get at least 20 shots up, that concerns me. So I think maybe the noise got a little bit too loud for him that particular day. And listen, Bird could be a one-off thing. It may not never happen again. I do agree with the consistency part, but I don't agree. You can only play who the NBA schedules in front of you. So just because you gave me whoever tonight, like that don't. So let's say they give him I don't know, Chicago again tomorrow, and like Pat Williams is on them, and I score 40. Like, is that my fault? What you holding me to?
Yeah, I think as we wrap up this discussion, Lito, at the end of the day, like Stephen A. said, I think we all want to see him succeed. And we get an opportunity to look at it, hindsight, foresight, whatever the case may be, and knowing all of us being able to think of someone who's wasted a talent or not maximized it. And that, for better or for worse, is a part of life. That's going to happen. People are going to come back years later and say, man, I wish I would have such and such. And it's tough because Zion has to say the right thing. He has to always say, well, this is what I want to be. He's a brand. So folks will say, well, I'm holding them to what he said. He said he want to be, he needs to do this better. He said he got on Gil's platform and said, I'm trying to figure out, LeBron got this whole thing figured out. I'm trying to get like him. He said that he wanted to be, this, or he wanted to dominate, or he knew what it takes or what it took to get the best out of him. That he had to be better. But when we are having this conversation 15 games later, people got to keep it in perspective that that's life, bro. The hardest thing you could do in life is consistency, is build better habits and stay with them, especially when you battle an addiction. That's the truth, bro. People don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying? And great, you get a chance to see a dude like LeBron, and you get to see someone. But end of the day, everybody wants this dude to be better. Everybody wants him to hold himself to the standard that he says he wants to be at, whether that's to protect his brand, he's told to say it, or it's what he 100% believes. But bigger, I think even, beyond that, people want to see Zion be comfortable with being Zion. And if that means that he just wants to be this level of individual, hey, I can't tell him that he needs to do it. I can't tell another individual, like he said, what they should think of themselves or what they think that they need to be. I can't. But we want to see this team succeed, and so much of it, I think, their ultimate ceiling, them being a championship contender, whether it's today or down the line, rests on his shoulders and him figuring this element out. And that's a lot of pressure for a young man at 23 years old to deal with. But fortunately, this will come with it.
Listen, Zion is a flawed human being. We all flawed human beings. From sometimes we say things and we don't mean them, or we say things and we don't stand on business behind it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
But Zion is also a flawed basketball player. But even as a flawed basketball player, he's still better than 90% of the guys in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, what you listen, and if anybody who's watching this, we not caping. It is frustrating being a fan of this situation because of A, injuries, and B, you look at how he looked Saturday and you like, damn, bro, like what are we doing? And I think sometimes, man, Chad said this one day, and I really thought about it. We got to bring back shame. Shame is a thing. I think embarrassment is something that it gets people out of their comfort zone. You feel like, oh fuck, like damn, oh shit, they doing that to me. They talk because it ain't the local media. It ain't just the fans in New Orleans or Louisiana or the surrounding areas. Like this was national now. These are because you got to think it like two ways, right? Think about it as in now they're trying to bring down Zion Williamson's value. It's not us. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things involved in that. But I all we can do is pray he gets the picture. He can fight his demons and he can try to figure it out, bro. He's 23 years old, which it sucks. But with whom much is given, much is tested. You know what I'm saying? Much is expected. Much is required from. So
yeah. Well, look, man. I hope the Hooper, the human, Zion figures out this particular battle, and he's able in whatever way that he can possibly do it, whether it be through reaching out and listening to those that have walked a similar path, or whether he just figures out his whole his own method to get the best out of himself, regardless of what that makes for the Pelicans. At the end of the day, I think that's what's most important here. And yeah, man. So we're gonna get out of here with DraftKings. Appreciate y'all, man. It lasted, here close to an hour of watch time here. That's a little crazy. We will have timestamps for a few different parts or highlights of the show. I have not done an hour show that I hosted in a very long time. So shout out to Lito, and shout out to DraftKings. We go.
In the NBA, the game can change in an instant, but no matter how the action unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expired 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms.
I mean that every time I hear that read, it's beating the hell out of him. Like it's really giving him a tough time.
Whooping his ass.
Like it is putting him through trial and error. Like there was a point where he wanted to end the read, and the read was like no. Like it was clear. But shout out to the bill collector doing his thing. Yeah. Remember, y'all, don't remember nothing. Peace.
I like that.